I wanted to
wrestling
come on
because
too
because
because you have always been the biggest supporter to all of us. And then when I used to come on the
Yeah.
pre-show, and for the longest time, you guys were, like, oh, go and start your channel. And then I started with the Scientologist name because the idea was for me to talk about things that interest me about the lore of Scientology and all the cosmology and the whatnot, the nonsense of Hubbard's mind. But as it turns out, I went back to school, so I
that's
actually
right.
don't
Yeah.
have time for that right now. So I'm using my channel at the moment. I'm using it as a tool to do the body doubling technique. I saw somebody mentioning something about that earlier.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to jump in and let everybody know that if you want to subscribe to support, or if you need to also focus on doing something, I've been streaming most every day of the week in the afternoon, at least for an hour and a half for now. And the idea is just for you to have somebody there to sit with you, even if it's just
Right.
even if there's nobody sitting there, just so that you have that sense of accountability. So yeah, so check it out if you want to. And then Sunday, like yesterday, I also streamed. I was playing a video game, so maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do productivity live streams during the week, and
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll play video games on Sunday to relax. I don't know, but
No,
hopefully,
that's
I still want to do the Scientology content. It's just that I don't have the time right
no,
now.
and that's like I said
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
You start something, and you decide you may or may not want to do it, and if you're somewhere else, and that turns out better than what you see. You never know. Try
And
it.
Life happens.
that's how I work it. I do the Scientology content, but I also keep up with my other stuff as well. So
Yeah.
you don't have to just be locked
Well,
into one thing.
Well, fortunately, mine is not a whole lot of Scientology talk, but it's a lot of cooking. And part of the whole idea of me doing this, the one that I do, is I know that these people coming out of Sea Org have never seen the inside of a kitchen, and so my goal here is to give them tools for which they can cook their own meals instead of having to go out and spend a fortune every night going out to McDonald's or wherever,
Right.
and get better meals at the same time. I mean, when you eat out all the time, it is expensive and it's getting
Yep.
worse.
Tell me about it.
So,
That's the
That's because
truth.
you don't
Yeah.
live in
Oh yeah.
Brazil.
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah,
You know,
no such thing
so
as dollar menu here. Just
yeah,
saying.
and and some of the little side things that I want to do, like I'm still working on the Dinner with Danny series. I need to get with the captain and have him look at my list that I have, see if it's correct, and then find out, like, one of the things on there is rice. Well, I need to find out whether or not it's instant rice, or is it Uncle Ben's in a package, or is it real rice, and how on earth they're going to cook that, because that's part of it. I'm not cooking it the way they would in a cell, but I want to be able to talk about how this would happen in the cell.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm going. So that's the hold up on that, is I'm trying to get with Captain Tom, I think, Scoville,
Thomas
and
Scoville,
find
yeah.
out. Yeah, find out if the list that I have that I pulled up off the internet is correct, and then find out some of the things that they use to actually prepare those kinds of things. So that's the hold up on that one right now. The Dinner with Danny. I am working on. Yeah,
I
I'm
love
working
your
on
names.
something. Oh, Dinner with Danny. Dinner with Danny
All
Cell
the
Block
names that you
Cuisine.
create, they're so
Yeah.
on theme and on point.
Well, yeah, it's just kind of, the cell block cuisine is going to be a fun one. And then I've got another one that I'm going to be doing with Chef Sean. He and I are going to co-do one. We're still in the discussion of that, but we think we're going to do something about along the lines of Americana, cooking Americana, you know, and go back and revisit the Depression era recipes and rework them, because, honest to God, when your grocery bill for four people is over $300, you got to find ways to, I could get a full cart for $100 10 years ago. Now, half a cart's $300. So you got to find ways to do things. And so I think the best thing to do is to go back and revisit Depression era recipes,
Hmm.
because they had to work on an incredible budget. And so take those recipes and kind of work with them and see what we can do with them. And I think that's kind of how we're gonna go on that particular one. So there may be another channel coming up with he and I that is going to be working that direction. So I'm really going to get busy here.
That's great.
Good.
I'm the grandchild of coal mining Kentuckians. So we're talking. My mother was born in a coal mining camp. So between her and my grandmother, they know such ways of making food stretch so far. My mother was one of 13 children. And they were, my grandmother on my grandfather's salary from the coal mine, she had to be able to feed all those kids. So we learned a lot with the, how to can foods, how to preserve foods, how to stretch out your meals, how to make them, go that much further. Plus there's also, another great way is also growing your vegetables and, your tomatoes. I don't think tomatoes are actually considered a vegetable, but you know what I'm talking about. And grow your own food and then do what a lot of people are doing. And they're canning them or preserving them for the wintertime so that they have them throughout the year. And that really helps out. We're at the point now that our kids are moved out now. So we're empty nesters and we're finding that, we're not having to feed a 6'7", 320-pound man that was living with us. That's our son. And we don't need quite as much food anymore, so we're getting more into the shop the day for what you need the night kind of stuff nowadays.
When I worked at the grocery store, because it was convenient, I did that. But now it's a weekly thing. And I have two big boys, both of them right in the 6-foot area. One of them is a bottomless pit and the other one is kind of a bird. But that's easily why I'm spending what I'm spending. I mean, if it was just Pete and I, it would be a whole lot less. But and I think we would eat better. Yeah, and I think we would actually eat better, although I have to admit, buying that big prime rib and that sucker, I mean, it was huge. I mean, we got 1-inch steaks out of it. I got 16 of them. And if you think about it, I paid $230 for that whole rib roast. And if you think about what that breaks down into steaks, and what that would cost at the grocery store for getting, 1-inch thick prime rib steaks or ribeye steaks, the savings is immense. And I've got
that
meat for.
We've got a guy down the road from us. Everything with him is all grass fed. If he feeds them any kind of grain or any kind of vegetable, it's things he's grown on his farm. So we would get a half a cow and a whole hog done up a year, and it was great. They would actually hang the beef, the cow, for 10 days before they would even start slaughtering it out, and it was the flavor was amazing. You can't get anything like that from the groceries.
No.
So, and then I could go at any time I wanted and I could see what he's feeding them. I knew exactly what he was feeding them. No hormones, no antibiotics, none of that. These are just good, clean meat. It's good stuff. And then every year when hunting season comes around, I'm going to have probably anywhere from 15 to 20 people who are going to come over and want me to process out their deer for them. So I always have a ton of that left in the freezer. So we really don't have to worry about it. But there's lots of ways of stocking your fridge at a much more reasonable rate. So,
well, if you think about it, you go to Costco and all I did was get meat. That was it.
Right.
I didn't get the rest of the crap. I got meat. And I figure I can get the rest of the stuff at my regular grocery store.
Well, when you think about it, when you buy your meat from a store, you're paying the store, you're paying the shipping companies, you're paying the processors, and then you're paying the people who actually raised the animal in the first place.
Right.
A lot, unless you live in a major metropolitan city, most areas in the country, you can go outside of any urban area and you can find people who are raising pigs, they're raising cattle that you order from them what you want, and then they send them off to a butcher. You go, they call you up and they tell you, hey, it's ready. You go over there and they'll have everything set out for you. It's all packaged out, ready to go. But you're skipping a lot of the middleman process that you be getting with the stores. And it may seem quite a bit when you start, but when you look at it overall, you're saving quite a bit of money in the long run. And you're getting premium top quality cuts.
Yeah, and with me, I'd love to do organic and grass fed, but it's just way too expensive. So right now, I don't, and I really wish I could. But here's the thing: if you go to somebody like that and you want these pieces, you just tell them you want a primal cut of the prime rib, you want the loin cut, and you get the big thing, and then you go cut it yourself. But if you have a food saver, or if you know how to wrap it to freeze it, then you have cut out yet another middleman in the butcher.
Oh yeah. Now I don't mind letting the butchers handle it, because I like the same process. When people bring deer to me, I want to hang them for a minimum of a week before I'm going to start skinning them and processing the meat out. So I want to make sure and a lot of people find that it takes the game taste out. Go ahead, Julia.
I'm gonna jump out. I just
Alrighty.
Thanks for joining us,
Juliana.
I'll be watching, but I won't be chatting. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna listen a little bit more to you guys, and I'll catch some of the other streams later. So, guys, once again, if I can plug in my channel, if you can just subscribe just to help. I don't have any big intentions, but if I do get 1,000 subscribers, I can redirect my lives to Clearwater chat and anybody. Because that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to redirect so that I could raid chat. I'm like, let's raid chat just to learn how to do it. And then I was struggling. And then I'm like, okay, I need to have 1,000 subscribers. I'm at 106. Very exciting for me. So, but I'm not going to be able to do that.
I'm halfway to 500.
Yeah, post your, if you're done, when you post your thing, if you want, you're in the chat later.
I can do it because I know how to work Clearwater chat StreamYard.
There you go.
Better than I know how to.
That is true.
That is true.
Yeah.
It is true.
That is true.
You're the lady.
She does all the graphics on my stuff. It's not me, guys.
Channel, so
Chad creates the stream, and then I jump here and I change the background and I put the logo and I create a thumbnail and I send him and I change everything.
It is all her.
It's gonna tell me to stop someday, but I have fun.
No,
That's
well,
awesome.
look who's here.
Good, Claire.
All right, hi Claire.
Cross
Just
the
wanna say hi.
pond.
You're
Bye,
right.
Claire.
Don't go yet, Juliana. I was
I
coming on to change the subject because I realised it was getting very meat heavy for anyone that isn't so much into it. But good to see you all.
I want to go back to studying, guys. But
Alrighty.
All
Bye-bye.
right, have a good
all of
night.
your shows.
See
and
you
I'll
later.
Bye
Later.
Hey, Joel, you were asking what type of music I play. I really don't play anymore because I have a lot of nerve damage in my hands. I don't have the mobility of my hands that I used to. But when I did play, I played pretty much everything I learned playing bluegrass, then went into country and then into metal from that point. And metal's always been pretty much my favorite style, but I still do like the country and bluegrass sound as well.
So I figured out how to get my earbuds to pair with my computer. So notice I don't have the big headset today.
Well, this, what I'm fortunate with is this new microphone that I have. It's unidirectional. So any sound coming from this side doesn't get picked up. It all gets picked up on this side of the microphone. So I can leave everything on my speakers. I don't have to wear the headphones or anything like that. It works out really good for me.
I don't have any speakers, unfortunately. So I have to do something. But mine's unidirectional as well, which is kind of a good thing because my husband's been walking around and making noise in the kitchen behind me.
You can't cover up some noises like Roscoe. He goes ballistic if a leaf falls off a tree around here. So.
Yeah. And same with my dogs. And then I have one who likes to grab a ball and go squeaka, 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 squeaka.
Oh yeah, that's Roscoe. Yeah. It's like he's OCD with it. He just can't stop till he chews the squeaker out of it. So Ozzy
tear it apart. Yeah. Ozzy, if there's cloth on it, he will tear it apart. We
don't give him anything that's cloth based because he'll have it torn apart within minutes. We bought him those fire hose toys that are knotted up, and he literally has them dismantled in under a half hour. And
Aussie's the same way.
thread everywhere.
Yeah,
Oh, Claire,
Aussie's the same way.
Claire, I enjoyed your stream with Marilyn.
What are we
Thank
working on today,
you.
Claire?
Oh, my painting that I did the last time I was on with everyone.
Oh, okay.
Excellent.
I need to do the sky. But yeah, thank you very much, Chad. Yeah, it was really fun to be on with her. Kind of nerve-wracking because I was a bit half set up because I was at my sister's, and for whatever reason I couldn't find my headphones, so I hope it wasn't too bad sounding wise.
did
But
great.
but yeah, no, it was really fun being on with her.
She makes you
I
really
felt bad
comfortable.
because she had like a really serious moment. Yeah, absolutely. I just like
Yeah.
felt bad because she had like such a serious moment at the start, and I was sort of running around trying to do everything. I was feeling so nervous that I felt like I was talking sort of like over talking a bit, but yeah. But
Well,
Yeah, mine is.
good, so.
My
My
wife just
problem
got
is
home, so I'm gonna jump out as well. So,
All right,
but
folks.
Alrighty,
Appreciate
good
you.
to
thank y'all
talk
for
to you,
having
Cole.
me. All righty. Let's see, how do I
Later.
do this?
Hit exit.
All right, that was great. You stopped by.
Yeah,
Though, you know?
Yeah.
yours was also really good, Sim.
Thank you.
I had to watch yours on I can't remember
On
now
replay?
if I actually watched yours live, but I think I did it on replay because I was teaching at the time.
Yeah. She makes you feel really, really comfortable. She really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like sitting in her living room drinking coffee or tea or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, her
Yeah.
streams are really popular. It's great.
Yeah, she's a
Yeah.
great interviewer. She brings things out in you. Now, my biggest issue is that and my boss loved it. I mean, Sean loved it when I worked at the store because I never shut up. So I'm always talking. And so that's kind of what happens is I kind of get a little something, and I feel like sometimes I get a little carried away. But yeah, that's just the background of being on that mic and having to pull people in and get them interested in what I'm doing to sell the product, you know? So
Yeah.
that's what, but if I hadn't done that, I probably wouldn't be very comfortable doing this. It would
Right.
take me a while to, yeah.
Yeah, it takes a while. Like I said with Julie earlier, you try
Yeah.
something, not that it doesn't work, but you find out you go a different
Mhm.
direction and it ends up being even better. These shows,
Yeah.
like, they could be whatever we want them to be. And, I try to see what the people like the most and try to tailor it to that as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, we're talking about channels and Claire's got hers and, how many subs do you have on yours, Claire?
I'm now at 36. I'm so excited.
Well,
and
that's
I'm
getting
actually
there.
streaming this twice. If anyone wants
That's-
to,
yeah.
wants to go and
Yeah.
watch on my channel,
Yeah.
I would much appreciate it. But yeah, so from that stream, I got like 5 extra subs.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I
That's great.
find that doing these
Time.
streams, you usually get at least one. At least one person will go over and sub. Now I'm at 255 right now, so I'm just over the halfway point for the first tier monetization on subs. Now I don't know about watch hours. Yeah, so and I feel
oh
pretty
yeah.
good
The
about
last
it.
I saw, I was like on 9.5 watch hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm over 200 watch hours. I'm back to, in fact, I'm probably right in the 250, 260 range in watch hours. I'm actually doing I have 3 different accounts. Actually, I have 4 I have access to. I have 3 different Google accounts. And so what I do is I pull all 3 of my Google accounts up and I run through my playlist. So I'm actually building those hours myself, and that's exactly what I did when when Chad was trying to get to his goal so he could do the monetization for the Chatathon. I pulled all of my accounts up and I ran through his playlist, and just let him run.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's
so,
really
and that
good.
happened
I've
pretty
got
quick.
2 that I sort of sub and watch people on. So
Right. And it's kind of a pain. Yeah, it's kind of a pain because you open up the next browser window and you have to pull them apart. They can't be all on the same browser.
I was going
You
to
actually
say,
have
right.
to pull. Yeah, you have to literally pull them out of the browser. You just grab it and pull it out, and then change over to the other account. And so, yeah, that's it. It's kind of a pain to get it started, but once you get it started, it's real easy. You know.
Okay, that's
So if anybody has a whole lot of accounts and wants to go and pull a whole bunch of browser windows out and run everybody's playlist to help them with watch hours, Claire could use it. I know Liz at her goal now? Is she now fully monetized, or Liz
Liz
Ferris?
Ferris. As far as I'm aware, I thought I heard that she was like at the first part, so she can get
First
super
tier.
chats.
Yeah.
But it's the ads, like is
Yeah,
where sort of
that's
she
where
wants to be.
that's where it comes in. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what will give her the
Right.
sort of leverage over
Mhm.
certain touchy sort of things. So
She's got she's got the 500 subscribers. She's got the 1,000. Because all of my channels are subscribed to her.
I can't remember
I
now.
don't know. We have to ask. You know. But yeah, if people can kind of go to these channels, like I said, I'm a little over halfway to the first tier, which will be the super chats. And I don't know what the watch hour requirement of that. They don't tell you about the first tier until I guess you get closer. You get there. You know, the only reason I know
Right,
about it is because of y'all talking about it.
Yeah, it changes so
Thank you,
often. I'm not
Juliana.
sure what it is.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah, exactly. She's at 820 subscribers.
Okay, so she's getting close to the
She's
sub.
getting there.
Yeah. So we need to start really getting her
She needs
hours.
and probably also watches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can stop doing mine for a little while to get her over the threshold. You know, and I figure what'll end up happening is I get close is that all these people that I've done this for, they know about it. Chad is very well aware of it, and they'll come and push me over the edge too when it comes closer. So that we all help each other.
Yeah.
You know. So, and I'll continue to do that, Claire. When you get close, let me know. I will start doing that for you.
Oh, thank you.
So,
sort of like what I've said kind of previous is, all kind of that is all well and good, but I'd rather people went to my buy me a coffee, although I have a buy me a tea, and do the pay it forward for my sewing classes. So obviously it would be good to be advertised again for the ads, but the sort of if people are going to want to do sort of things to give me money in terms of like super chats and things, I would rather them do that, because that's kind of where my heart's more at, is sort of giving paying things back for people. So it's all on my channel, all the links and things. So. Yeah. And I'll just say, thank you, Juliana. I can't do a proper heart, but
I
have
trouble.
Love on my channel, so thank
you.
She
did mine as well.
That's funny you said that, Claire, about paying it back, because that's exactly why, and I do tell people this is exactly one of the reasons why I do all this, because people helped me out in the beginning, and I'm just trying to pay it forward with everything.
Yeah, I think that's so lovely, Chad. And it's why I said to you sort of like I would do last week's stream, although I was a bit all over the place, so I didn't manage to deal with kind of getting anyone else in. Plus, my channel is like the free StreamYard, so again, people can help me fund that so that I pay for the next tier up. So I don't know if I can actually, like, how many people I can actually have in that, because it does have the little plus sign when I go live.
It's 2.
So I presume I can maybe. Oh right.
I think it's 2. I think it's 2.
Yeah.
2.
So yeah.
I'd have to look because I pay for mine.
Like, anytime you can't do it, Chad, I'm very happy to sort of kind of take the pacing away.
I'll take you up on that next time.
We can do it
because people like this show, so the more we can get out the word, the better. I felt bad
it's just like. Yeah, I realise it's something that I didn't send Marilyn's stream yesterday, but kind of crafting online is something that I try to start with the Free Britney movement in that sort of I've always known that crafting and such is very good for mental health. So I kind of, with obviously everything that we were advocating with her, and sort of people always talk about her potentials for sort of mental health, and she went through obviously a lot with her kids and things before the fraudulent conservatorship that she was put under. So, and there was one post that she did at one point where she was painting on the floor. So that sort of was my thing of, oh, you know, I'll kind of do this. And I was doing it over Zoom with like some people from the movement. But, you know, like now, since like when you started doing this, I was like, oh my God, like that's like what I always wanted to do. But I was obviously quite unsure how to do it on sort of a YouTube or something.
Yeah.
And always a bit sort of nervous. I kind of, you know, even like with my Instagram, although I've sort of got quite a few followers on there, I always get very nervous sort of going live on my own, and sort of I have this thing of sort of, well, you know, will anyone be watching and things like that. And obviously it's why I started doing the clothing love stories on here by myself, because they're fairly easy for me to do. You know, even if it's only like 15 minutes, I can kind of talk about my outfit, no problem. But sort of then if I don't get anyone else watching, then I'm just like, okay, you know, I'll just go, because I'm not very good with just chatting, like until like there's sort of like someone else who I'm kind of looking at, then I find it easier to chat.
That's understandable, but don't forget people watch the replays.
Yeah.
My stuff still has lower.
Finding a lot, yeah. It's just like it's one of them things when I'm kind of newly doing them, you know, it's sort of like I'm kind of, but yeah, like then I look back and yeah, like some of mine have got like 77 views and things after like a couple of weeks, and I just think that's amazing. So it's very, very encouraging. But
the more you go on too, the more, like you said, I forgot who said it, but usually you get something. Yeah, just keep going on.
Yeah.
You
get more comfortable. Yeah, you definitely get more comfortable.
Self-conscious in myself, in that I sort of.
You're gonna have critics. You're gonna have critics.
Yeah, you are. There are going to be people who don't agree with you for whatever reason, and it's one of those things. Well, you know, we're going to agree to disagree. You know, I'm not going to fight with you about it. You know, okay. And so I mean, that. I haven't had anybody like that, but I know they're out there, and I know, you know, eventually I will come across somebody. But yeah, you know, it's just
that's the thing. So
I think it's. I love the worse they are. I love them when they criticize me.
You know, it's well, you have old Grant out there really criticizing. What's his name?
Yep.
You know, really criticizing you. But anyway, no, I haven't come across anybody who has criticized me. I've come across people who have made suggestions, and I'm considering them. Chad was one of them. Chad made a suggestion. You know. Oh my goodness,
good.
we're getting comfortable now.
Right.
Well, no, it's the living room. You know, we're all sitting around.
It's a really cold weekend. It's really warm in England now. So I was out sunbathing today. It's like
nice.
Crazy.
Jag undrar om de hör mig.
But Cindy, I was trying to just give you it was a positive one. It was just a tip that I was trying to get your viewership up. I'm like, it was an example
and it's
of
worked really well.
Yeah, when I
Okay,
you know the story. I said when I watch a video, when I want to cook something for my son, I
Can you
look
hear
for the
me?
shortest one. So if
We
I
can
do
hear
it,
you,
other
Davey,
people
but we just can't see you.
You can hear me.
I can hear you.
Ah, damn it.
Hey,
Yes.
good to have you, Damien. How you
There
doing?
you are.
Sing.
But
That would
yeah.
have been horrible. No, where did you go?
yeah, that was a really good idea, Chad, and I really appreciate it. And you know, every time I find something that I think it's going to be relatively easy to make, then I will go ahead and try to get it in that 1 minute time frame. Yep. And throw it up on the single parent set. So I think that I may be able to do that with the chicken fried steak, which is probably what's going to go up tonight. So I've got, of course, the regular ribeye steak that I'm going to be doing tomorrow. That one will be easy because it's just really quick, and then throw it on a grill, or in the oven, and I'll tell you how to do that. So, if you don't have access to a grill, you got to find another way.
Yep.
So, and
Well,
that's
I
going to
like what you
be.
were saying earlier about. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, you
Oh, no,
have
I
to
was
do
just
that to get me to shut up.
I liked what you were saying earlier. Not obviously that it's a nice thing, but like when you were talking earlier about the obviously like the cost of sort of food and things going up, and like how much you're sort of like spending a month or whatever. It's ridiculous, like how much.
Crazy.
And sort of me sort of like kind of cooking for myself as well. Obviously I end up doing and I found this like my whole sort of kind of
Ja, men
single life
grattis.
having to work cook for myself is that Davian, we can still hear you by the way, is that you like even if like sort of I mass cook stuff and then I freeze it, it's how much freezer space. I have like a shelf and that's it. So it's
Makes it
that
tough.
sort of thing that I think there's a lot of sort of like good like ideas that people have for how to like mass cook things,
Stretch
so
the
then
dollar, yeah.
but it's like for people in my sort of situation where we literally have like a shelf, you can do like sort of one meal like that, and then it's sort of, but then you've got to like do like the same thing every night, or sort of have something like sort of microwave meal in between, sort of change it up, because I just don't have enough room to be able to
Freezer
sort of
space,
do
yeah.
2 different lots or
Well,
something. Like I would like to. Like there was one point where I had my own little place and I had a whole freezer to myself. Oh my god, I was like I had stews
heaven.
in there, soups in there, stir fries, everything. So then I could just go out and pick whatever I wanted. And then now I'm back to a shelf space. It's
Yeah.
so annoying.
And I think in the UK, different than in the US. US, we tend to have, even in apartments or places where you're sharing, you tend to have these big refrigerator freezers. And it's huge. We can hear you, Deviant. Anyway, you tend to have these big refrigerators and freezers. So you have a lot of room. Whereas I think in the UK and over in the Far East, the living spaces are so much smaller. So
Okay, hey, wait a minute. In the UK and the Far East, so Sweden would then be Far East from the UK, right?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure what to call that region.
Scandinavia.
Scandinavia. What I'm saying is anywhere other than the United States, I think is the case. It's the living spaces are much smaller than what we have here. I mean, we demand elbow room. And
we can only wish for it.
Yeah.
And
38 square meters for one room.
I mean, I'm in an 1900 square foot home. I mean, this is a small
one. But you live in a home. I have a shitty apartment.
Yeah, I've lived there. I've done that.
I have a room, Davian, so you're one up on me.
So yeah.
I have
but, again, you're talking about fridge and freezer space being at a premium. So you have to decide what is important to do and plan accordingly. So going and making this huge meal, and then okay, how am I going to store this? Well, okay, now I have to think about how I'm going to store this. What's going to take up the least amount of space in my freezer? So is that Ziploc bags? You can do a lot of stuff in Ziploc bags. is that those little trays with the lid, that's going to take more space. It just kind of depends.
But I'm also thinking,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah, so that is the thing.
If you
it's sort
live-
of finding
if you
a
live in a
decent
larger house,
storage
you-
container.
Hmm. Yeah. If you live in a larger house, I'm sorry, Deviant, go ahead.
yeah, if you live in a larger house, it's more likely that you have perhaps a larger family or a family at all, which means that you need that extra space in your refrigerator. I mean, I live
Mhm.
alone. I have one like the cabinet is like that high. What do you mean, 180?
Yeah.
60,
Yeah.
70 wide, something.
Hmm.
And what do I have in there? Well, I have coffee, milk, an onion, some oil. Yeah, that's it. No, what's it called? Stock, vegetable stock.
Vegetable stock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is. And, the thing that I discovered here in the States is that it costs me as much or more to pay rent on an apartment as it would be to get a mortgage on a home. In fact, I pay less on my mortgage than I would renting an apartment for 4 of us. Okay.
Yeah, but
So
it's the same here actually. It becomes the same. Buying apartments in Sweden is really expensive. It even like a friend of mine bought an apartment that was like 35 square feet, teeny tiny apartment. He paid almost 2 million Swedish kroner
whoa.
for that apartment.
Yeah. I don't know what the conversion is, but that sounds like a lot.
It's it's like
And goes into a
one-
million.
I think $1 is like 10 Swedish crowns now.
That's a lot. If you're paying
Yeah.
$1 million for that tiny of
Yeah.
apartment.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you need to have you obviously take a loan, but you need to have the not collateral, but I don't know what the word is.
Yeah.
For the
Deposit.
Yeah, down
Deposit.
payment. Yep.
Yeah.
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 I don't want to cut off
So-
your train of thought, but I put up the link to Joni's channel. If people could sub to that too. Joni Cummings.
Awesome.
No.
She just started that one, didn't she?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Joel just subbed. I subbed. Yep. And we
Yeah.
all have channels, everyone too. So,
Yeah, I think I
Cindy,
need to.
Claire.
I think I've got one sub to her. I pull the others out. So, and like I said, I'm really close on subs to the halfway point. So, if there's somebody who hasn't subbed to Sinful Good, so it's at
Tell your
Sinful Good.
friends.
Question.
Yeah, what?
Vegetarian food that's very, very. It doesn't have to be simple, like you just mash it and eat it with a straw. Not like that, but like few ingredients that are cheap and doesn't take a long time, because you're one person who has no concept of beginning to be hungry. So when it's time, it's
Right.
immediate.
I did one recently, I think. Hey Terry.
Cindy.
That was
Hi, Deviant.
the fried rice can actually be the vegetable fried rice can actually be vegetarian. All you gotta do is leave the egg out. It's just that's all it takes to make that vegetarian. Egg roll in a bowl, that one you could do strictly vegetables, and leave the meat out.
What is egg roll to me is a word I've heard 1,000 times in movies, etc., but I have no idea what it is.
It is a. It's wrapped
Is it
like in a
like a crap?
wonton. Well, it's almost like a filled little jewel. Trying to explain an egg roll. It's a bunch of vegetables and usually vegetables and meat, but it can be just vegetables that is rolled up in a
Oh, it's like
wonton or egg.
spring rolls.
Exactly. It's just like a
Ah.
spring roll. And only it's using a different wrapper. Spring rolls are a bit finer and thinner, whereas
Yeah.
the egg roll has a thicker casing. So, so yeah, that's the main difference. But when you're talking about egg roll in a bowl, you're not rolling it. You don't have to do the rolling part. So it's literally in a bowl. So it's got all the same things that you would put in an egg roll, only it's put into a bowl and you can eat it. And then I usually put little wonton strips with it to finish out that feeling of an egg roll. So
Okay, so yeah, I see what you did there. I think.
Mhm.
But how do you the dough or whatever
the
how do
wonton
you
strips
cook? No, the like
or the casing.
yeah,
Because
the
it's wrapped
casing.
in a casing. You fry
Yeah,
it. Usually it's fried. Now you
and
can
fry
throw it in
not
an air.
in a oil fryer, but in a frying pan.
You can do it both way. Well, no, you can do it in a deep fryer. That's usually, I think, how it's done in restaurants, because
Yeah.
they're trying to pump them out quickly. You can do it in a pan, which is I do quite often. I'll just do,
Oh,
and
good.
you just got to keep it moving, got to keep it rolling. Or you can actually do it in an air fryer, and you can just air fry it to that.
Yeah.
And I have to take a look at that. But again, when we're talking about the particular one that I was discussing, they're not in a casing. It's not, so you don't have to fry it at all. Okay. It's almost like a stir fry. So you take things like, I mean, if we're talking vegetarian or vegan, you
Yeah.
carrots. Basically, what I do is I get an Asian salad, and I used, I mean, it's got carrots, cabbage, it's got all kinds of stuff in there. And I pull the little packet of dressing and wonton pieces and whatever out of it. And then I just fry the Asian salad. That's the
Oh.
basis of it. So it's very quick. So you just go to the store, pick up an Asian salad, pull the dressing out, and you can actually use that dressing as the sauce in your. Now I do give you
But
a
then-
sauce that you can make, but yeah.
That's perfect. That's the kind of recipes that I need, because I tend
very
to
simple.
just, I mean, I ate only spaghetti with black pepper for
Mhm.
a year until
Sebastian
I could.
cacio e pepe. Basic
I could-
cacio e pepe, yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
good to me.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
sure, but when you eat it for a year,
You're right. Not
your
every
body
day.
Tired of
wants
it.
other nourishment.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you can eat. In the beginning, I was really full after like a bowl of that. At the end, I could eat packets if I wanted to.
Yeah.
It just disappeared. There was nothing.
Love you, Joe. I see you opening tabs and giving people watch hours.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you. But yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I need to look into a bit more of vegan and vegetarian stuff. I'm a carnivore. I will tell you that. So it's very hard for me to get excited about vegetarian and vegan, but there is a market. There are people out there who are excited about that, and
Yeah.
I need to
And
I
I
need-
mean,
yeah.
sorry.
I need to help them as well. I mean, it's not just us meat eaters out here. There's people who just don't.
Yeah, and I mean there are even if you eat meat,
Mhm.
you can still eat vegetarian and vegan
yeah.
on and
Yeah.
off. And people who are very interested in food, for example, usually like
Excuse
to vary. Or as
Yeah.
a friend of mine who like me suffered from anorexia for many years.
Yeah.
She when she became healthy again, or
Mm-hmm.
she can't eat the same meal like 2 days in a row, or
Mm-hmm.
cook something in the evening and then eat it for lunch the day after
Next day.
at work.
I have trouble with that too. I can't do it either. I get bored. You know.
I
It's always gotta be
eat like a horse. I strap that seed bag on. Färdig.
2 meals a day and that's it, right? You know, it's
Oh,
really
yes.
funny. Yeah, I can't do like breakfast. I love breakfast foods.
Yeah,
But I can't.
of course you do. You're
I
not
can't.
insane.
But the problem is that I have, for some reason, I've always been this way. I have a very pronounced gag reflex, and the earlier it is after I get up, the worse it is. So I can't put anything in my mouth for at least 5 hours after I wake up. So the first thing I'm doing is a lunch, and then I do a dinner. So those are my two meals. I can drink something, but I can't eat anything. So I kind of got into doing smoothies for a while because I could drink it and it was giving me the nutrients I needed to start the day.
Yeah,
I'm not as good about it anymore, but I was doing that for a while.
that's difficult. Do you have some what's it called, reflux issues?
We thought that's what it was, and we put my doctor put me on some antacids to try to control that, but it didn't help it. I've done some digestive studies, that we won't go into because they're pretty nasty. But anyway, but
you don't have to. I know.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of those, and we can't find what the issue is. And it's not just in the morning. I always have. In fact, that's part of the issue. I mean, I'm sure people have noticed. I don't have a whole lot of teeth. I don't have anything up at the top. And when I was going to the dentist, we were talking about doing this. Is what happens when you get diagnosed with diabetes, and you're in an 18-wheel and you can't take care of your teeth like you should. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I mean, this is what happens. And so I have the posts for implants, but they're $25,000 a bridge. So,
Wow.
yeah. So I mean, we're going to put a Ferrari in my mouth. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, just
That's
kinda
interesting. I got the Ferrari.
Yeah.
Oh,
I need to get it done. That's one of the reasons I'm hoping to get monetized, because that's one of the things I want to set that money back for, is to get the teeth dealt with.
oh, that's really
Right.
nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like
So-
it, like, having goals for the money.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. But anyway, so when we were trying to think about how to deal with the teeth issue, I mean, we were going to do snap-ins. Initially it was dentures, and the minute he
Yeah.
put the thing in my mouth, I was like, this is not a good idea. In fact, my dentist literally said to me, "You have the worst gag reflex I have ever had." They have to literally knock me out to do the impressions. I have to go to a dental surgeon, and they have to, I mean, the whole 9 yards to do
Oh
impression.
my God.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's bad enough when I had my braces with that, but yeah, I still
Mhm.
I still managed to hold it a bit together.
oh yeah, I can't. In fact, it finally got to the point where he said, "You're not even going to be able to do snap-ins because they're wider." He says, "You're going to have to go for the permanent, screw them in, and because it's very little."
I promise you, those are the best.
Yeah.
I knocked my front teeth out 3 times. So the last time there was nothing left. In various creative ways, of course. But when
Yes,
I
Lori, it
finally
is
got the implant, it was a very new method of teeth restoration. So they thought that I would be able to have it for 10 years. First, I had to wait until I was like 18, 19, when the jaw was
Hmm.
grown, was fully grown.
Right. Right.
So first wait for that, and then they said, okay, in 10 years, you will have to take it out. And then I would have, as it was back then, I would have had to pay for it, because I didn't pay for it because I was underage when the injury happened.
Right.
So it was free, but back then it was really, there were no what's the when they lowered the price,
Mhm.
when the state pays for part of it and you only pay a
Oh
minor
yeah,
part.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was nothing like that for dental work in Sweden back then. So I was really worried, like, okay, I'm gonna have this for 10 years, and because I have there's literally nothing inside except for this titanium plug stift. So what do they do then? They can't put a new one in. But now I have had this for almost 30 years, and it's probably my best tooth. It's
Yeah.
the ugliest, but
Yeah.
it's where it
I
should be.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, and you can hear it in how I talk, the lisp, is that it's very hard to eat certain things because of the way this is, and I have just a few teeth here on the bottom, just from canine to canine, and I keep, as I'm trying to chew to use the stubs, there's actually, they've got caps on these titanium screws, and so I use those as the top teeth. But the problem is the bottom teeth will hit the gum here, and so it kind of gets and irritates it. So it's difficult. But
Oh,
again, I mean, we're talking about, it's basically what they say is that for the bridge, which is the whole mouthpiece, okay,
yeah.
bridge, it's $1,000 per tooth, okay, and when you have 20, I think you have 25 or 26 on the top row, you're looking at what that is. That's $26,000.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I mean, that's with everything right in there. I mean, that's the dental work and all that stuff is supposedly about $25,000 a tooth, just for putting the bridge in. Now, mind you, I have the one on the bottom that's going to have to be done too. So, $50,000 in my mouth. Well, that's
It's so messed up.
a lot. And dental insurance here pays $2,000 a year.
Whoa.
That's it. Okay, so you're $2,000 in, and if you plan it right, you can do part of it at the end of the year and part of it at the beginning of the year. So now you got $4,000. However, you're done until. So when you think about it, how much that costs, and $4,000 applied to 25,000.
I mean, that's a fucking lot of money.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a vital. That's the part. It's different in the US in a way. I think it's insane that you don't have a similar system to not just Sweden, but the other Scandinavian countries. I think the UK, many countries, where the better part of healthcare is paid through taxes.
Yeah.
Pros and cons with that system.
Higher, but yeah, your
Pros
tax
and
rates
cons with
much
that
higher,
system.
But, it's.
But
2 weeks
the thing with teeth is, as I said, in Sweden we didn't have subsidized dental care or optician.
Oh yeah.
Basically, two of the most important things you use just for daily living. You want to be able to eat, otherwise you starve and die quite quickly and nasty. and
Mhm.
you want to be able to see so that you don't walk out
No,
of a cliff and die very
exactly.
horribly.
Exactly. Exactly. You walk out in the street and get hit by a bus, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, T Weeks is a good
T-Weeks
thing.
is really good. Yeah.
Yep.
I saw that.
Google. Yeah. Then I'll read it so everyone can.
Dental card.
Uh,
Dentists accept discount dental card just like pharmacies accept discount pharmacy cards. And
Yeah.
you will be paying significantly less out of pocket. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, that's
I
really
agree
good.
with that. Yeah, it is a good tip, and I do see that. The interesting thing is right now, my husband's Navy retired, so we get what they call TRICARE, which is military medical. It doesn't cover dental unless you pay extra, and it doesn't cover vision unless you pay extra. You go through Delta Dental, I think. But the interesting thing about it is even a lot of the company insurances, we're fixing to get on because he's got a new job that's with the company, and he's going through that 30 to 90 day whatever that they do. But anyway, is with the dental, most of the companies and in the military as well go through a company called Delta Dental, and so trying to hit that with two companies, two different insurance policies because of the company insurance
Uh-huh.
and they pick that up pretty quickly. They kind of go, wait a minute, you're double dipping here.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little bit difficult.
You got anything planned for dinner for tomorrow, Cindy?
Well, I want to do that lasagna. I have some salmon that I picked up. So I have that kind of in the back. The thing with salmon is I also have to go find another fish for who back here behind me.
Yeah.
For Hubs and one son because they refuse to eat red meat fish. And
Oh my god!
Why?
Oh.
I love a salmon.
they say it's too fishy, and I'm looking at them and say, well, I haven't overcooked it or anything, so it shouldn't be. But they
That's
got
like
it in their head.
best fish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
in their head.
Now he will eat the ahi tuna, but he when it comes to salmon he won't, and that's even the farm raised is much more milder. I don't like it, but it's much more milder than the wild caught. And I picked up wild caught this time, so it's going to be even more salmon.
Yeah.
So I've
And I
got
find
that.
tuna is more of a fishy
It-
taste than what a salmon is, really. But
Which one?
I find a tuna is more fishy tasting than
Yeah.
a salmon.
I would think so, but he kind of equates it to almost beefy. Yeah, he almost equates it to beefy instead of fishy on the ahi tuna.
You guys are
and
making me hungry
I
for
think
fish
it
sticks.
sounds like a
Yeah,
bunch of
so I mean, I'm
I go for a monkfish.
yeah, I'm doing tonight is going to be so like I said, I had planned on lasagna, but I was going to do the low carb version, which means I can't use noodles. Okay, I have to use something else because I kind of need to get that low carb vibe.
Yeah, I
going
heard
as
you
well.
talking
Let me
about
do a
that
low
one
carb.
the other day. That sounds
Yeah.
nice.
And the way that works is that you make it's cream cheese and mozzarella. It's got a few other ingredients, and I have to actually be looking at it to tell you exactly what it is, and I could look it up real quick, but I'm not going to. But anyway, so it makes this kind of a paste, basically, is what it is, and then you put it on a piece of parchment paper on a baking sheet, and you spread it as thin as you can. So it's not going through, but you want it really, really thin, and then you bake it and cut it into the strips, and there is no, you're not using a flour. There's no flour in that. So that's why it's low carb. You're staying away from the carby stuff. And you use that as a noodle. And as I tell Chad all the time, that exact same thing, if you take it and spread it in a circle or unless you want a square one or a rectangle, when you spread it in a circle, you have a pizza crust. That's low carb.
Yep.
So using that and in that noodle / pizza crust or whatever, I actually put Italian seasoning, so it's seasoned in the noodle and the crust, and as well as the seasonings that you're going to put on the pizza or in the lasagna. So it's really flavorful. The only thing is that when it is in it's going to be, I mean, it's usually about that thick. It's pretty thin, but it's still, when you put it in there, it's bready. It's almost bready. And so some people may put people off on that idea of that. It's not a noodle, it's more of a bread. But here's the neat thing about it, is that you put that in there and you bake it, and it soaks up all of that juice, all that tomato stuff. So you have this flavor in the noodle, and it still comes out in layers. So I have tried spaghetti sauce. I'm not a fan. Or spaghetti squash. I just, it's not spaghetti enough for me. It doesn't have the tooth that I like in spaghetti, or it has too much. There's no medium. It's either this way or this way, and I can't. It's like zoodles, the zucchini noodles. I have the same issue with those. Is that they tend to be either really, really crunchy, and I have issues, obviously, or it's really, really soft and falls apart. So that's kind of how and even trying to get it right at that changeover, it's just, there's no changeover, slight changeover point between I'm still crunchy and I'm falling apart. So
have you tried thin strips of eggplant?
No, I have not. I have not tried to, but I'm not a big eggplant fan. I don't like the flavor of it. And that's the other thing, is that things like the zoodle zucchini noodles, and I believe the spaghetti squash, don't have really hardly any flavor. It's like I can't do the shiitakes, whatever
Mushrooms?
Mushroom.
No, the mushrooms are fine. They do a algae based noodle that they make, and it's in your produce section, that is low carb. It's actually some sort of gastronomy, kinda, yeah. But they're called shirataki or something like that. They come in a bag, and you have to rinse them out, and you just throw them in with your sauce. Well, they have a off-putting taste. I mean, I've tried a series of different of these low carb noodles. There's one I've got the macaroni for it that is supposed to be really good. I have not tried it yet. I need to, because trying to get it with these guys is kind of difficult. If it looks different, they're going to kind of go, what's this?
Yeah.
I have to kind of, if I'm doing a low carb something, I have to kind of disguise it so that it looks normal to them, so that they so they will at least try it. So that's kind of what I deal with. So when you're talking about the lasagna, it takes steps. I will probably go ahead and make the noodles for it tonight, and then just set them aside, and we will do that in a couple of days. And the rest of it's just, typically you could do a vegetarian lasagna, by the way, Deviant, if you think about it.
Yeah, but that's many steps. You have to do the sauce and cutting the, like I like to cook with other people, because that's like an event, or something you do together. And I like to eat together with others, but as I live by myself, I get hungry in, like, it just snap your fingers, and I have no energy, so I want it fast, and then I sit by myself, eat it in 10 minutes max. So I don't want to have to spend.
So you want really quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me think on it. I know egg roll in a bowl will fit that. The egg roll in a bowl will fit that perfectly. And like I said, just leave the meat out. The fried rice, again, if you have leftover rice, it will fit that perfectly, because you need what they call day old rice. What I do is I make it in the morning, stick it in the fridge, and let it sit there. Okay. So T-Weeks, the reason I'm doing it, and I don't do keto. Okay. I'm not keto. I do low carb. Keto is 20 net grams of carbs or less per day. That's the limit. Okay. I have myself limited to 50. And the reason I do that is because I'm a type 2 diabetic. It is, one of the things that you have to realize when you're talking about carbohydrates and how they work and how they break down in your body, and especially if you're talking about somebody who's diabetic or has sugar, pre-diabetic, those people, is you have to realize that carbs, once they break down, become sugar. So that's what they break down into. So if you're eating high carby meals, mashed potatoes, all the big mashed potatoes, lots of noodles, lots of pasta, lots of breads, rice, that type of stuff. Those things are all high carb. And you realize that if you ever notice, if you eat something as a diabetic or somebody who's watching their blood sugars, you'll notice if you eat something within an hour, your blood sugar skyrocket, and that what we call blood sugar spikes. And that's because of the shift over from carbohydrate to sugar. And with your body's, insulin or glucose intolerant, it's going to sit in your bloodstream, and there you go. There you have your blood sugar. So it's like if you go to the doctor, if you're going to the doctor and you're like pre-diabetic, whatever you do not get yourself a sandwich before you go in there. Okay. Because, if you're hungry, go over to Burger King and tell them you want everything, all the stuff, but no bun, and they'll wrap it in a piece of lettuce. Okay. So
They do.
yes, they do. Most of these restaurants will do that because keto has become so big here in the
Okay.
States. These restaurants are realizing that they need to cater to some of these people who are saying, I don't want a bun, or I don't want,
Yeah.
and it's not when you're talking about low carb, it's not, I can have all the meat I want.
No, that's the
No.
stupid way.
No, I mean, and you have to look at what types of meat, or
Yeah.
what, and the other side of that is vegetables. There are vegetables that are really carby. I mean,
Oh,
we
yes.
talk sweet potatoes, even worse. And a lot of these diets, and people will say, instead of having a baked potato, have a sweet potato. It's better for you. No, it's not. You're better off.
That's what I do.
You're better off eating a regular baker, so
The baker.
a baked potato. Yeah.
Okay.
I call them bakers.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're better off doing that because the sugar on top of the carb in a sweet potato is not a good idea, and there are
Good tip,
there are so much, and when you're talking about fruits, everybody says, oh, well, have fruits, and you have peaches and pears and apples and all that. If you're talking, there went my thing, but anyway, if you're talking low carb, you can have blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, and strawberries, and that's about it. Okay, that's sort of the limit on your fruit. So that's if you're going. Now, I don't go full keto, so I'm allowed to. I have to plan. If I'm going to have something that's carby, I have to plan for it and say, okay, I'm having. Say I made a peach cobbler for after dinner. Okay, that's going to be really carby. That's going. No matter what, it's going to put me over my carb limit. Okay, I know that. But how far am I going to go over my carb limit? So I have to kind of look back throughout the day and say, okay, I'm going to eat these things that are very low carb throughout the day so that I can have that cobbler at the end of the day.
I'm just realizing if I were ever to get diabetes, I'd be fucked.
That's what I say about my husband.
Because
my daughter,
I can't. I mean, I haven't had a relapse of anorexia for 11 years and
awesome.
1.5 months. Whee!
That is great.
Yeah.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Yes, that's wonderful.
But when something happens and I'm under a lot of stress or depressed or something, the first thing that goes that I lose complete interest in is food. I continue to eat and I try to think about it, and those thought patterns that come with eating disorders, they haven't I can feel they are there, but they haven't gotten a grip during these last 11 years. But if I had to think about, okay, if I had to plan all that, because that's exactly the kind of planning most with eating disorder spend their
Can't
day
do.
on. I mean, you do nothing else but think about food and not eating it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for you and all other diabetics, and I really hope I never get it.
It's not fun. I mean, I will tell you my favorite treat for the longest time. If you were to ask me what, here's the reason I'm diabetic. I will tell you this, genetically, obviously. But one of my favorite things to do back when I was a kid, when I was younger, is I would get, the can frosting. It comes in a can.
Oh, yeah.
I would get that, a spoon, and a big glass of milk, and that was I loved that. And obviously I can't do that anymore. I mean, if you go low sugar, where you rub cake frosting on someone's gums, if somebody passes out from being low sugar, or Karo syrup. I mean, those are the two things that you do. If they're still awake but they're disoriented, you can give them orange juice. So I mean, there's things like I really can't have is the orange juice. And Few Weeks had a good point. I mean, you talk about complex carbohydrates versus simple carbohydrates, and they break down differently. I agree with that, but a lot of the way it breaks down, if you're talking about the carbohydrates that you're getting from things like, the high carb potatoes, breads, that type of stuff, I believe those are mostly simple, and they break down to sugar quickly. It takes a little bit more time. I mean, there's carbs in meat. It takes more time.
Of course.
For them to break down the complex than it does the simple. So it's going to break down all that simple, throw a bunch of sugar in your system and say, okay, now I'm going to work on these, and the goal with keto is to train your body to use fats as a energy source instead of sugars, which is what it's used to. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of, and the idea of ketosis is that you're getting into where we're burning the fats, and there's a lot of argument about what it does to cholesterol and things like that, and it does affect cholesterol. I will tell you, it affects cholesterol. Your total, if you go on keto or low carb, your total, not so much as much low carb, but keto. If you go on keto, your blood cholesterol levels are going to go through the roof. And the reason is not only you're adding fats, which is, you're putting fats in the bloodstreams, that's your energy source, but you have to be very careful of what type of fats. You don't want, like the meats have the saturated fats. That's not the fats you want. That's why it says
so you want vegetable fats, right?
Yeah. Well, no, not really vegetable fats either. Okay. Things like olive oil, avocado oil. You want to stay away from canola and vegetable oils because their fats are ones that contribute to cholesterol issues, and they also are not the fats that you want to run your body on. So you want really good quality fats. Avocados have a lot of great quality fats. So
avocados are the best.
They are, and I will put salt and lime juice on it and eat it out of the shell.
Easily, it's the best.
I love them.
It's the best.
But they are also incredibly good for nice fats that you can live on. But what happens is, and this is what the doctors don't consider, is two things to look at. A lot of doctors don't. Now, some may. Mine didn't. But is that they took one look at the raise in my cholesterol level, because my cholesterol level did go up. when I first started, because I was adding all these fat. But the other side of that is, and the happy coincidence of that is I lost weight. Well, you have to realize I've lost 100 pounds.
Oh my God.
Yes, I've
Wow.
lost 100 pounds in a year and a half. And that's just a happy coincidence of going low carb for the diabetes. That wasn't why I started it. But the neat thing about it is that as your body starts breaking down the fats that it has stored, it's stored cholesterol. Okay. So you're not only adding the oils, which are not bad, and the fats, which are not bad, you're adding the fats that your body has stored. And so you're going to get a spike in your cholesterol levels. And what happened with me is I finally looked at the doctor and said, yeah, that's high, but let's break it down. Let's look at the bad versus the good versus, and what we discovered was that the reason the total cholesterol number came up was because the good cholesterol skyrocketed.
That's cool.
So, so when we broke it down,
I just wanted to say, I mean, these are great tips and everything, but just for I know all the bigger channels say, just like we have to, we're not giving any medical advice. We're just kind of talking out loud.
Agreed. Yeah. It's not medical advice. You do need, before you start any diet, I'm going to say this, everybody hears this every time, but before you start any diet or dietary life plan, you need to talk to your doctor.
Yes.
Okay. You need to make sure, and even nutritionists will say the same thing. They will literally say, okay, I have a plan for you, but we need to discuss it with your doctor first before we start. So
And the doctor should be one that is familiar with nutrition, because
yes, that's hard to find sometimes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And that's why you get nutritionists, because, a nutritionist, because what I did with my doctor eventually, because we had this discussion, was because we argued back and forth about it. And I finally said, look, I said, I understand that you took a little bit of nutrition when you went into your, pre doctor or whatever, but the key part about it is you didn't study, you had other areas that you were more interested in. Okay. This person is interested in nutrition, and I want you and this person to work together, because they're going to be able to say, you can say, well, you need to do this. And the nutritionist can say, well, yeah, let's look at this,
Yeah.
And in the end, what I did was I got the doctor to recommend a nutritionist that he knew that he was comfortable
that he trusted. Yeah.
Who's comfortable working with. And so that's kind of where all of this came. So yes, definitely do not start a diet plan, eating plan, a life.
Those are great tips that you gave, though.
Yeah, without talking to your doctor, because I don't know that my tips are general. They're just kind of general stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what the particulars of your, like, T Weeks' situation or Terry's situation or Deviant's. I don't know the particulars of those situations. Their doctor does.
No, I mean, those are great tips, though. Those are, we just have to say that,
Yeah.
We got about a half hour, guys. So we could all, go ahead, Terry.
I'll also just plug a little. I recommend the Maintenance Phase podcast. Is like really good for debunking diets and sort of they really kind of break them down and sort of discuss them. So it isn't like, sort of like kind of think of one that they've sort of gone through, but say like they were like doing keto. It wouldn't be like, like keto is rubbish sort of thing. It's sort of this is what we found, sort of through our research, and this is the research that anyone else did on it, and blah blah, and then they sort of break it down. So and they're very funny. The host as well.
Yeah, T Weeks makes a really good point. Yes, everything we eat does break down into sugar eventually. It's just the type of sugar, and whether or not it's resistant. It definitely does break down into sugar. That is what fuels our body. But again, we're talking about with keto and this type of stuff, it's they're trying to get it to use fats instead of sugars, because if sugars are very easy to eat to break down into energy, fats are a little harder. You have to work a little harder to do it. So that's
Yes.
why the body, if you so you're always going to get some sugars. You can't stop sugars. It's just like you have to have some carbs. You just,
Even when you're malnutritious.
Malnutrition.
malnutrition. Yeah,
Malnutrition. You still
Or malnourished.
the body will start to consume the muscles and
Cell.
shut down
Mhm.
other
Yes.
vital processes, organs, etc., before it goes for the fat,
Mhm. Yeah.
which is why people who have like BED, like binge eating disorder, can, I mean, they can weigh 250 kilos, but they are still malnourished.
Malnourished.
There it is. Yes,
Yeah.
malnourished. Thank you.
You can have somebody who eats
And die from starvation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you eat.
Yeah.
Juliana, I used to follow Dr. Berg until I ran into Ian with Falco. And I didn't realize, like a lot of people don't realize, that that Dr. Berg is a scientist. Dr. Berg is the king guru of keto. And if you talk to people who are into keto, they always say, "Oh, you have to go see Dr." And I'm like, no, I don't. I have no interest in Dr. Berg. And the reality of it is he's not a nutritionist. He's not a doctor. He is a chiropractor. He can adjust my back and my bones, but he doesn't know. He knows
He's
bits and
basically a
pieces.
con man.
Well, yeah. I mean, he knows bits, and he's making millions off of it.
Yeah.
But he knows bits and pieces of nutrition and bits and pieces of what he knows about nutrition. Any person in this chat can go find it on Google.
I think he Googles
Literally.
it. Allegedly,
Yeah.
he Googles it before that's where he gets his
Mhm.
information.
Mhm.
I posted everyone. I posted Joni Cummings in the chat.
Awesome.
Everyone can sub to her. And
Awesome.
Oh yeah,
Before-
I was
okay,
going
we're
to
not-
say she posted something earlier about she doesn't like her voice. Joni, that is why I've started doing more lives, because I can deal with editing myself because of that. But as everyone always tells me, you hear yourself far different than how other people hear you. So do not worry.
I don't know one person that likes her voice. I also
Exactly.
we're not cutting yet, guys, but I just want to get all the
Yeah.
thank yous.
Yeah.
I do want to
I
thank Terry for everything she does behind the scenes. Terry, thank
Oh,
you very much.
you're very welcome.
I don't say it enough, and
Nice.
I've been
and,
slacking lately.
it's okay. You've done a lot. for the
Everybody
channel.
deserves a vacation.
And then don't forget everyone. I know Terry and Deviant don't have active channels, right? That they're
No.
promoting. No, okay. But everyone else does. Claire the Ethical Taylor does. Everyone gets sub to her.
Go
Chef
and
Cindy does.
sub and watch and comment
Yep.
and like.
Yep.
Yeah.
And mine
I also have a channel too.
Yeah, I'm at Sinful Good, and I do recipes, videos on recipes, but I'm also doing little bits of things to learn, tips. I just started the Cooking 101 series. I have 2 videos up on it. I have the Single Parent Guide to Simple Meals, which is Chad's little area. And I'm gonna do some fun things, some funny things. I'm still doing research behind it. But I do I'm fixing to do the Dinner with Danny Cell Block Cuisine. So I mean, and that's that, and you might actually find some things in there, Deviant, that you can use in that Cell Block cuisine.
For sure.
Yep.
I think it's beautiful how, like, with respect, but still, you're fucking incarcerated.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's kind of funny doing that. I have a couple other ideas that I'm working on. I thought about doing something about dorm cooking, but that ends up being almost exactly like the Cell Block Cuisine. So I figured, well, 2 birds, 1 stone. So those types of things. So anyway, so that's what's coming up. Along with the recipes, I try to post something every day. I don't always make it, but I try.
Yep.
And
You can
again,
do my Marmite sandwiches from primary school.
oh, I'm leaving. You want me to make Marmite? I don't think so. I'd have to feed that to the dogs, and I'm not sure they would eat it.
And Cindy, don't forget about your show Fridays is very good too.
I do, yes, I do a what I call Food Talk Friday, and I invite all these wonderful people to come. I would love to get Reese on. She and I are just talking back in the backgrounds right now, but I'd love to get her on. But yeah, and basically what we do is what we're doing here. I try to give it a little bit of a theme, but I don't restrict it to the theme. So, like I did food and family, and I don't remember what we ended up talking about, but we ended up all over the place.
Yeah, we did.
So I don't restrict it to that subject, but I do try to give it a general topic to touch on, and we'll start with that, and then we move on out to other things. But anyway, we do that every Friday at 1 Central, which is 2 Clearwater time. Is that correct, Chad?
2 o'clock Clearwater time. Yep.
Yeah, 2 o'clock Clearwater time.
Yeah, it's a great show.
We just have a good time. So if you guys want to check that out, you're welcome to come on.
What's
And
the
Joni,
theme this Friday? Do you know?
I'm still looking at it. I have a bunch of different ideas. I'm just trying to think of which direction I want to go. I may leave it open this Friday, just because I think and you need to have times when it's open.
Open chat, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, doorbell.
Shut.
Who is it? Let's hope it's not the Jehovah's Witness, But anyway, so y'all are welcome to join me on Fridays for Food Talk Friday. Again, not always food, but hey. I do need to talk to someone about kosher. I'd like to get into a discussion about kosher things, which I know very little about.
Well, that
So
would be
it
good.
yeah.
What's his name? Andrew Gold would be good
Yeah.
for that.
Yes.
Yeah, but Andrew's another one of the big names.
He's a biggie.
He would be.
He's not that much of a hot shot. He'll be alright.
He doesn't know me yet. I haven't even reached out and talked to him yet. So he's like, "Who are you?" So,
You
but
could
yeah,
throw
I
it
would
out
love
there
to
in Aaron's chat.
see what he
Just ask
does.
if anybody's Jewish and knows how to cook.
Yeah,
kosher.
that would be good
Kosher.
actually.
Yeah, kosher would be good. I want to talk to some vegetarians and vegans, and get some of their take. And Deviant will be a great one for that one, and see where we can go with that.
I was
so we'll go from
vegan
there.
for 7 years at
Mhm.
first, and then so I went from mixed
Mark
like
Turry,
regular
I could do
food.
Mark Turry too.
to vegan. I was
Right.
vegan for 7 years, and then
Mhm.
went to vegetarian.
Awesome. Well, I don't want to talk. Like I said, to get me to shut up, you have to just say, "Sin, shut up. Let me get a word in."
Sin,
edgewise."
shut up! I need to ask something very important.
Okay.
You balance me out. I'm the quiet one. You're the talker.
Just quickly, Tim, can you put your channel link in the private chat, please, so I can put it on my channel?
Sure.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
Sorry,
Do you
Deviant,
want the full link, the full YouTube link, or just the at
Yeah.
link?
No, the full link.
All right, give me a minute. I got to open the page.
Sorry, Deviant. Go ahead.
Go ahead, David. I'll
Yeah.
shut up for a little bit.
So, is Poet in the chat, or has he been, or have
I
anyone?
haven't seen him.
He
saw
said
him early today.
he's got internet issues. He said.
Okay, because I was wondering about. He spoke about this collection of texts and pictures and whatnot that he was going to collect in a book and sell, with the proceeds going to the aftermath. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
has he said anything?
I think he was starting in October to collect them. But obviously,
Okay.
if you've got because I don't
Okay.
know like where he wants them sent to or anything.
Okay, but that's good because I kind of fucked up.
Oh no!
Uh,
What did
or
you
maybe not. But
Why?
so I can never ever be finished with anything. Which is why you guys wanted me to show one of my drawings, so I'm going to blame all of you because then I don't have to blame myself, but I blame myself. So it's not ruined yet, and hopefully won't be. But I'm kind of doing the second layer of it.
Okay.
So wait, maybe I can do like this if I remove this one. Kan jag... Oj, sorry. No? Jo. Vad är det här för något? Är det här jag? Hallå? Var är jag?
There you
Där är
are.
jag.
Yeah, we can. Oh, okay.
Oh. You know, your
Oh,
stuff.
wow.
Wow, it's amazing.
That is
Yeah,
gorgeous.
you blame me for that all you want. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take the blame.
Yeah, I'll take
for
the
that.
blame for that. Okay, I'll totally take the blame for that.
So
That's gorgeous.
I remade the face and the ears, the eyes. They aren't finished, and I'm going to redo the background and make it even darker and with more like connections going.
Nice.
That's gorgeous.
It is
That is
gorgeous.
beautiful. I don't want to hear you say you don't have any talent ever again because that takes talent.
But it was just
You're
an
not
accident.
allowed. You're not allowed,
It's-
Deviant. You're not allowed.
Okay.
You know what? I'll say this, Vivian. It's disgusting. You're rubbish. No.
Thank you. Thank
Joking,
you.
joking.
You're a true friend.
I
Those other liars.
Only because I know you're wanting it.
We're having a great time, but I think Chad's concerned about the time. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
we're
fine.
trying to. I want everyone to plug your channels before we go because like Juliana said, I put the comment up about Leah's coming on in 15 minutes, so we want to be
Oh,
ready
fun.
for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun. I love Leah.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you very much for putting up my my little tag there. The Ethical Tailor.
usually I
I
put-
put it in the
yeah,
private chat
yeah,
as well, so it can go on. Be put onto other people's channels for the link. But yes, please come and join me. This week I should have more of a schedule. So tomorrow I'm going to do another live, and I believe but I need to like relook at my videos, but I believe I'm going to do a zip video tomorrow. So it's a pre-recorded zip video, but I'm going to do a live chat commentary over the top, and it will be at about 8 p.m. UK time. So I think that's like 2 or 3 p.m. Clearwater. I need to have a
It's
look at
2
it.
o'clock Central.
Oh,
that would
right.
What
be-
time did you say? 8.
8 p.m. Yeah.
That's perfect.
UK.
That's 9. So that's
Awesome.
perfect.
It's
Thanks,
all right.
Julie. I wouldn't have known about Leah if Julie didn't tell us. So that's
No,
appreciate
it's
it.
Yeah,
okay. I
good to
didn't
be there.
realize she was going.
So don't forget to don't forget everyone to sub to Juliana's Julie's channel.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yes.
I don't have the link on me, but it's Julie. What is it, guys? There you go.
there it is.
Yeah, science
It's
theologist.
a great channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a wonderful time, and I'm not going to say much more because I
Yes,
did
thank
plug my
you
channel.
all.
It took a long time, but yes, go to @SimpleGood, and we'll let Chad finish out with plugging his channel. Please go to his channel as well.
Yeah, mine's just Clearwater
And
Chad.
Terry.
If anyone likes parody stuff or waterfalls, thank you, Julie.
Oh, the
Yep.
waterfalls are amazing.
So
Yeah.
we got Claire's,
And Julie's.
Cindy's, and mine, and you guys don't have active channels. Like I said, thanks again, Terry, for
Terry.
doing the moderating.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
also
thank you
Terry
very
was
much,
awesome.
Terry.
Yeah.
Terry is awesome. I agree.
Terry is
100%.
awesome. Terry's
And
awesome.
then Joni Cummings too. Joni
And
Cummings
Joni's
has
got
a
a new one.
new channel.
Of course.
Let me
Yeah.
put hers. I'll post hers one more time.
Okay, I'll
But
add
Terry-
those
And
make
to the
sure
ones
to-
that I share with everybody on all the other
Yeah.
channels.
Oh, excellent. Thanks,
And make
Terry.
sure to pick up Poet's Brian Lucas Poet from a Poet's book. It's on Amazon. So make sure to grab that.
Okay, I'll throw that out there too.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. The more we support each other, the more our channels grow too.
And
True,
people
true,
have to
true.
find the right fit, so
Yeah.
you never know who's going to fit with what.
Yep.
Mhm. Mhm.
True, true.
I just, as long as people will let me talk, I'm good. You know, God knows what I'll come up with, but you know.
Oh, we love you, Sim.
Yes.
But
Okay,
like
well, I'm
that-
going to start dinner, so I'll see all of y'all.
All right.
later,
Yeah, we're
and,
gonna cut too, guys. If
yeah.
anyone has any last words,
Alrighty.
other than that,
Yes.
we'll- thanks,
Take
everyone.
Y'all have a
Right.
blessed day.
Thank you
You too.
all. See you later.
See you at Leah's.
Eat and
Bye.
be good and stay out of trouble.
Stay out
Yeah.
of trouble and eat well. Y'all have a blessed evening and an awesome evening.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us.